So yesterday I was on Tasty Live and quite a few people were wondering how am I able to determine the direction of the trade? And there are a lot of people that will, use the fundamentals or the reporting to determine what they're going to do with the markets. And that's something that I've never really utilized at all when I've been trading. So I've shown a few videos on what I do to look and see, like, it's kind of to forecast what the market's going to do. And it has helped me. I've been pretty accurate majority of the time, and I try to share it with you guys so you can have similar success. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at Netflix, and I'm gonna show you how I came up with the bias that I had. If you're a technical trader, you're one of my traders, you pretty much know, you see it already in advance. But let's do it together. All right. So I went back all the way to 2025, and I pretty much just drew some regular support lines. Nothing fancy. Everything that I teach in the free course, I literally that's just what I did. If you are familiar with patterns, we do have a head and shoulder pattern that is forming with Netflix. So let's see what happens there. But every line that you see, well, let me move this. Hold on. Hold on. I want to make sure this is right. I had to move them over because I was teaching somebody what I do. But every line that you see here on this chart is basically the week that they had earnings. So if you go to your trading view on the bottom, you have a little E button in here, and that's showing you that earnings report was done. Now, what I've done is I've put arrows on the candle or candles of the week or the last 2 weeks prior to the news week candle. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because what you'll want to do is you'll want to backtest this and see if it's something that you can exercise on your own when you're trading earnings or if you want to trade earnings. I am not one to jump into an earnings trade the day before. It's just not my thing. But if you're up for this, here you go. The market usually gives you an indication prior. So if you look here, the market came back and did a retest and created that higher low. Now we can just literally just draw like a nice little trend line, and you can see where we stayed on top of there. This candle here is called a spinning top, which is typically a reversal or a pullback candle. Now that lets us know that there's going to be a change in direction. So we look prior, the market came back, did a retest, and then we have the one candle that stopped that bearish momentum from coming down any further. It's like, that's it. That's enough. And we continue to go up from there. Well, that was earnings, and Netflix had a positive earnings. Okay. So their income was good and it correlated. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because just because it's green or positive does not mean that it's going to go up. And you're going to see that when you look at the technicals. Okay. So bam, market does that. We have a lot of confluences. Everything correlates. Very cool. And then we have a couple of weeks after that pretty much follow the trend. So the earnings literally just helped us break the previous structure and gave us an indication that we were moving more. We're going higher. The second news event from what I have marked here, earnings event, again, was all green. And you can see where the market comes back down here. Okay. So the news candle is the one after it. But if you take a moment to just look, it came right back down to that previous low. All right. Can you guys hear me well? Because when I look at the screen, it looks like nothing's happening. Let's see. Do I have anybody there that can? I know this is new for me, so let's see. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm going to share this. All right. So with that being said, we know that the previous week bounced off of the support, which is a really good sign that we're going to go up. And we had really nice bullish momentum. Well, that next week was earnings, and what did it do? it aligned with what the previous weekly candle was telling us. Okay, so the previous weekly candle confirmed the stop of the drop, right? That pullback stopped right here, came back up, and we had a continuation. And look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks after we continue to go up. Okay, but positive earnings, bullish momentum. So at this point, they're correlating, right? So it's easy to assume, oh, if it's bullish, if the news is positive, it's going to go up. Well, now let's go here. This is July 14th. If you look here, the 2 weekly candles prior let us know that we were about to go down. And the reason why I marked 2 is just so that you can see this candle here is a bearish candle. It's also, just like I said with the spinning top, this is also a reversal candle. Okay. And we know it's either going to pull back. It's either going to pull back or it's going to reverse. So this is where, again, we use information from my free course. And you can see here, there is some market structure right here. So what we're looking for is if price is going to stay underneath this area. If it does, we'll look to take it down. This is the week of earnings. On the smaller time frame, you would see that price stayed underneath that structure on the weekly. And what happened? It pushed the market down. So we had an indication 2 weeks prior of what the market was going to do before the earnings report even came out. All right. I hope you guys are seeing this. Let's see, excuse me, y'all. All right. All right. Now, what was the outcome of the news? It was positive. So look at how we had positive news, but we had bearish momentum. So this is what we were discussing in Tasty Live yesterday, where, like depending on what was going to happen with the news, was it going to be positive? What was going to happen? It doesn't matter whether it's negative or positive. The technicals are telling us beforehand what was going to happen. Now I'm going to take this market structure that I drew and I'm just going to drag it because look at what happens after. A couple weeks later, we break and retest, and now the market is creating a lower high. At this point now, we're not going up. We're not breaking that previous high. We're starting to go down. That is letting me know that we might be, going down for quite a bit. So look at all these weeks that price continued to respect this area. Now, this is the candle before news week, okay? This is the news candle or earnings candle, excuse me. Let me clarify that. Look at how we have the same candle, by the way. We've been having the same candle almost every single time. But look at how we have that candle. And if we want to get a little bit more technical, I can take this little area right here and price continues to respect it. So for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, price was respecting that little area. And we got the indication of a reversal. We have lower highs. So 1, 2, 3. I literally, if I wanted to, could take a trend line and start drawing it. And it's letting me know that we're moving in a downtrend. Okay. So if I wanted to take advantage of earnings before the market closed on this week right here, I would observe price action and see that it's staying below this high that we've been respecting for the past couple of weeks. And I would go ahead and get into a put option. And now look, you can see where bam, look at what happened. This was their revenue rose, but they also had earnings was down. So this was mixed right here. You see how what happened here? This wasn't just straight green or straight red. We literally had a combination of both. Did it matter? No, it didn't matter. But what earnings did is it gave us it gave us the momentum. That week was really nice. We got a lot of momentum. So that's one. Here's the next one. So with this one here, not as clear as the others, you can see where we have been in a bearish trend for a very long time. So what I'm going to look for is to see if there's just like any structure or levels that the market has touched. And I'm going to take my box and I'm just going to do something like this. And we're not going to act like this is here. Okay. We're not going to act like this is here. We're just going to work with what we have to the left. And I can see that the market has kind of danced around. Well, if we look, we break, we go under that area. This is the candle before news. So we're staying underneath that structure. And then what happened with news? We go down. Positive earnings, but we go down, right? Because structurally and technical wise, it's letting us know what's about to happen. And we actually had a couple of weeks that followed suit, which was very nice. Now let's look at April. The market comes back and it does a retest. Well, I'm going to take my square and look at this. You guys see that? 1, 2, 3. We come back, we do a break in retest. Here goes my trend line. We're making another lower high. We have a hangman, which is a bearish candlestick pattern the week before. And if you've learned how to break down price action, you know that you can see this on the smaller time frames before the week closes. And that allows you to take advantage, to go ahead and get in. What happens with earnings? Drop. And then look, we have a couple of weeks where price continues to go down. So there's a couple ways that you can approach this. You can approach this where maybe you're not buying as long as a contract out because you want to take advantage of just the earnings weeks. Or you can see that a couple of weeks following earnings, the market moves in that direction and maybe buy something a little bit more long term so you can capitalize off of it. Now let's look at this week. This is the week where I was on Tasty Live and they asked me, we talked about it and they asked what my thoughts were. Well, I had this support drawn. Again, it's not perfect, but I had this support drawn and I saw that we were saying we broke and retested it. Now, these are the two candles prior, the two weekly candles prior to this week. So it makes that break in that retest and look, price went down. Now it's struggling to break this support because look, we're all the way down here. I'm going to take my box real quick. We're all the way here. We're at by a really strong support. So I would love to see what's going to happen there. Are we going to break and retest and go down to 62? Or if we're going to close above and then possibly, well, the market's closed. If we're going to possibly come back up and push up, we'll see what happens. But it gave me the indication of what was going to happen. And it told me 2 weeks prior. So this is something that you can utilize whenever you're trading. Is this going to happen as clean for every ticker? Probably not. But if you are able to do this, you can see that no matter what the reportings is, the price action is going to tell you what's going to happen. The most important part is number one, understanding the different types of price action and what they mean, market structure, and literally like being able to identify a retest. All of this is taught in my free course for the most part, and my workbook covers like candles as well. So this is something where like anybody can do this if they just study and take the time. That's all you have to do. So if you are someone that really likes to trade Netflix, you know that the next earnings is going to be in October, October 20th to be exact, then you probably should put in your calendar 2 weeks prior, maybe 3 weeks prior, just to keep an eye out on it and notate some areas of interest. So if price gives you the indication that it's going to go down or up, you can get in sooner, not pay as high of a price as those that are entering in late or trying to enter late, and you're able to take complete advantage of the movement. So again, I'm not going to say this is 100% proof, but this is what I mean, this is literally what I do. It's how I approach the markets when it comes to trading news events. In this case, we're discussing earnings, and this is literally what I used, the method that I used when I was explaining what I saw with Netflix. And I wanted to just show you guys a couple of examples so you can see the steps that I take to come up with the bias. So that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. And I do plan on coming on YouTube more often. It is a request, so I'm going to do much better with that. Your support means the world, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.